Hey friend, welcome back to the Intentional Mind podcast. I'm your host, Ange Barnard, and today on the show, we're talking about clarity around the direction that you want to take your career. So this episode is for you if you have been feeling unfulfilled when it comes to your career, but you don't feel like you have a clear direction of where you want to go. And sometimes this leaves you wondering, should I even switch my career? Should I switch things up when it comes to whatever work you're doing? This doesn't even need to relate to a traditional career setting. This could also relate to your business if you actually are a business owner. My whole point here is that this is your career and your career is causing you to feel unfulfilled. And you're noticing that if you continue to do the same thing, the same ways that you are right now, that you're not going to live a very fulfilling life. And that scares you. And you're the kind of person who wants to take really intentional action in your life. But you can't do that when you're not clear about the direction that you want to go. So it's so frustrating that you don't have the clarity that you need. That is the thing that you desire the most, so that you can feel more fulfilled, so that you can show up with really good energy in all areas of your life. That is your intention. If that is you, this episode is for you. All right. So what I wanted to do in this episode was I got a story for you. And it's basically a story of what not to do when you feel like you're wanting to feel more fulfilled in your career. It's an example of that I've seen with some of my clients over the years. And I'm also going to tell you things to do. And I'm going to share with you my 5-step process that I take my clients through when they're coming to me and they're like, I don't want to keep doing work this way. Sometimes people come to me and they're not clear that they even want to switch their role. They're just like, I know this is feeling really unfulfilled to me. Maybe I can shape it to be the kind of role that I want. I'm not really sure. I just know that I want to feel better in my life when it comes to my work, and I want to have better energy. And this is just, it's not giving it to me. So sometimes they're confused at that level. Should I even switch? And others come in and are like, I know I want to switch out of this role, but I'm not really sure what else I want to be doing and what I should be doing. We're going to use that word as it relates to my strengths and my values. I want to make sure I'm honoring those things, but I'm not even sure what role would give me that. So people are coming in with this lack of clarity, but they desire to be clear. They desire to be intentional with the way they live their life. Those are my people. And that's what I'm speaking about, these stories. Okay. So I want to just set that foundation clear. All right. Now let me tell you about one of my clients. So this client came to me for me not to help her with her career in general, although this is relative to her career, what she wanted me to help her with. She wanted me to help her get clear around what her message was for her TEDx talk. That was her goal. Now, I'm the kind of person who likes to think about you as a person. I like to personalize everything and your own vision. So when someone comes to me and they want clarity around something, whether that's a message that they're going to deliver or a talk or their career, I always want to know, tell me about you as a person, your vision, your values, your strengths, because I want to make sure that all aligns with who you want to be. So we did end up doing some of the work around that, getting her clear about who she is and what she wants for her future. And so we worked on that talk because I do a lot of this talk writing coaching as well. But at the end of the day, when it comes to the thing that I feel like I'm very good at is helping people get clear around their message, who they are, and what they want next. It's all relative to that, whether that's a presentation I'm coaching someone on or a meeting around, like, we're trying to figure out what they're going to say in their next meeting. Like, there's clarity around the words, clarity around my message. That is the key across the board, the theme, I would say. So she came to me for that. We worked on that stuff. And then ever since we finished that goal, and she ended up having her TEDx talk, and it was a great experience, all the things. Now what she's been doing is booking sessions, just not in a package, but just a la carte, like single sessions. And she comes to me when she wants clarity around a specific thing. So sometimes we're preparing for different meetings, things like that. She recently came to me, and I know she would not mind me sharing this with you. In fact, I may even send her this podcast episode so she can listen to it, because I've also talked to her about my feelings about this. So anyways, she came to me And she says, she's trying to figure out how to have this conversation around tweaking things as it relates to her work, so it's more enjoyable for her. And then she's trying to figure out what things she should be involved in, because there's so many things that are wanting her time. So she's like, should I even work on this thing? Should I work on that thing? Should I partner with that person? I'm so confused, right? So she comes to me seeking clarity around all of that. How should I use my time, and what should I say in this meeting? And I stopped her and I said, I feel like this big struggle is showing up because you are not clear around the direction that you want to go next. The vision that you have is not clear. So it's really hard for you to figure out how to use your time wisely. Like, should you be a part of that project? Should you partner with these people? Should you try to tweak your work to make it so that you enjoy it more, like this specific job, or should you try to find another job? I don't really know. So there's so much confusion there. And I told her this: what you need is to get clear around the direction that you want to go. Then once we've gotten that clarity around the direction that you want to go, it doesn't need to be crystal clear. We just got to be clear about certain things. Like, we got to be clear about what your values are. We got to be clear about what your strengths are. We got to be clear about what are the things that energize you and what are the things that really drain you. We got to be clear about the kind of environment that you thrive in the causes and the work that you actually care about that lights you up. We got to be clear about that. It can look in all different ways, and it may even be so much better than what you imagine in your mind. But those core pieces we need clarity on, and that isn't there. So when that's not there, what happens is you can't make intentional decisions. And it leaves you in this catabolic energy range. So if you can relate to this story, like if you're feeling really drained beyond your normal kind of drain, because you're so in your head, you're like, well, I don't know what to do next. It's so draining to stay in a state of confusion. It's catabolic energy. It drains you. And that's what catabolic energy does. It takes away energy from you. So clarity is key. Clarity on those things. So I told her that. And I also told her that I recommend going through my whole process, because a la carte sessions, like individual sessions, it'd be great to help you figure out what to say for a specific meeting when you already have clarity, when you already know the direction you want to go, but you're struggling with the words to say and how to position yourself to create the result that you want, but you're still sitting on a foundation of, I know the direction that I want to go. That's great for a one-on-one session. It's great for if you're working on, like, some clients will be working on a presentation and they'll be like, can you give me feedback on this? Can we talk about this? Or I have an interview coming up for this job I really want. Can you help me think through how to build rapport, how to persuade and get them to hire me in a very authentic, feel-good way? Like that can be great for one-on-one sessions because the clarity foundation is there. So I was explaining to her, though, what would be helpful going forward is if I take you through this whole process around, let's get clear about those foundational things. Then we can decide how you're going to use your time wisely. Then we can decide the conversations that you need to have to align with that vision that you have. So you see where I'm going with this? I'm not saying that one-on-one sessions, just a la carte, no package, aren't going to be helpful. Yes, they are helpful, but for certain things. I'm also the coach that's going to be real with you and say, you're not going to get that in one session. You know, if you're looking for clarity around your entire career, you're not going to get that in one session. If you're trying to figure it out for like a talk, like I said, an interview, like something like that, that's different. So hopefully you understand that piece. So my point is, I shared this with her. Now, I think that the thought here, and this might come up from anyone that's listening, is like, oh, well, can I buy those sessions like one-on-one and you start to do that work with me? This is what happens if people do that. There's no commitment. So when you show up and you're not giving a committed energy, that's what you're going to get out of it. So that's why I encourage people, and I've even encouraged this person, get the full package, because I also am more committed to you. When you have a full package, just like my VIP clients, I'm committed to you. It's like we both have that energy. Not that I'm not when it comes to a one-on-one. Like for that one-on session, you have my 100% devoted one-on-one attention. But for my VIP clients, they have my attention even outside of sessions because they have like unlimited text and voice messenger and things like that. So I'm just more committed through that process. And so are they. And I even advised her, I'm like, look, you're paying more money. You are actually paying more money for individual one-on-one sessions with me. And you book them repeatedly. It would serve you, one, you'd save money, and two, you'd have a process that you were going to go through, and you'd have to commit to that process. Because that's the other thing I've seen that comes up for people. They're like, oh, I don't really want to sit there and do this. You mean this work? You mean I have to sit and have a session around like getting clear around my strengths or my values and talking through all that stuff? And I just feel like I just want to take action. Like I just want to go get that next role. And the problem with that is you can do that. However, it's not going to be done in an intentional way. And that's the thing is like this work is worth it, to sit back and really like get clear around who am I? What is it that I want? What are my strengths? What am I good at? What do I really care about when it comes to my values? How can I design my life from that place? But some people I've noticed, they don't want to sit and do that work. And I've decided like over the years, I've realized that I'm not the coach for everyone because I'm not about not taking intentional action. Like I only want to work with people who are committed to taking intentional action. That is what I stand for. And I believe you cannot do that if you don't have a vision of what you're working towards. Can your vision change and evolve? Heck yeah, constantly. I feel like that's why you need to keep revisiting your vision. It changes as life changes, but you got to have something to go off of. And that's why the vision piece is the foundation of the work that I do. So anyways, I did help her as far as getting some clarity around, like I because I've been working with her for a while, I've picked up on like a core theme that runs. I know a lot about her. So I was able to say like, I know these are your strengths. I know there's some values here that this really matters to you. I see this common thread. So I was able to give that back to her. And I said, now if that is the direction that we're going, like this is it, then let me ask you this, is partnering with that person the best thing for this? Does that help you get to this? Yes or no? Does this help you get there? So we went through all these different things of how she was using her time. And it was so after that one session, she's like, that was so helpful. I feel so much more clear. But I'm sitting back here being like, we could get even more clear if you would just follow the entire process. Because the other thing I was asking her too is like, okay, you're not feeling fulfilled here. If you want to move into another role, how much money do you want to make? How much do you need to make to have the lifestyle that you want? It'd be nice if I made, but there's so much lack of clarity there. Like even those things, like these are foundational things that people need clarity on. And I know it can be hard to get that. I feel like at times I'm not super clear on those things. Like there's some spaces, like I want to deep dive into that work. In fact, I'm not going to lie to you. I don't even know if it sounds ego or not, but sometimes I wish that I had a coach like me, like to myself. I have a coach that's amazing, which I highly recommend. And I've actually been referring some of my clients to her because she is so good at helping you get through the mindset stuff that can get in your way. Amazing at that. And what I love about the work that I do is I'm pretty strategic. Like there is a plan behind what we are doing. You're getting these foundational things met, then we're moving forward from here. And this could work, again, traditional career setting. You just want another role. Or this could be like, I want to make sure my business is aligned with my values, my strengths, and how I want to show up in this world. It doesn't matter. The same process works. And I think everyone needs that vision. So that was just a quick story about that specific client and where you can see those struggles that are there. Okay. Now, let me take you through this process because this is what I'd recommend to the person. I'd recommend this process. Now, what happens is though, because other blocks come up for people sometimes, they're like, that's a bigger investment to be a part of the VIP package and go through that entire process because I don't give that process in other sessions that I offer. In a one-on-one, you're not getting that process. In a 3-session package, you're not going through that whole process. It's not enough time for that. I offer those 2 offerings, one session and a 3-session, and then the VIP session or the VIP package, which is 3 months of coaching. And sometimes usually people end up adding a month to it, or they come on later for additional sessions as things progress. So anyways, so let me go through this process. That's what you get in the VIP piece. This is what I was recommending to her. Like, even if it's not with me, you sit down and think through these things. Okay. And I'm telling you that too, as you're listening. Even if you do not do this work with me, do this for yourself. Okay. So the first step of this process that I take people through is evaluation. That's what I call it. Step 1, evaluation. How do you make anything better in life? You evaluate. You evaluate how it's going. And that's where you decide, ooh, I want it to be better than this. And you know the starting basis. I call this putting the destination into the GPS. Okay. So in this step, there's 2 parts to this step. And you're going to hear from my 5-step process, there's actually a couple steps within each step that pertain to the main theme. So for example, the evaluation of the past/current. That's what you're going to do. So this may involve you looking at each area of your life. You've heard me talk about this on the show. How are you feeling about each area of your life? Because I'm the kind of coach that I don't just care about someone's career. In fact, I care about your entire life. That's like, how does this fit into who you want to be in this world? Not just your specific career. In fact, I don't work very well with people that are just like, can you get me just another job? Just give me a job that makes me more money. Like, that's not my thing. My thing is like, I want to work with people who want to be intentional about the way they live their life and how they show up. And I know that your career is a big piece of that. So we want to get that down, but I want to consider all your other goals and dreams too. How you want to feel in your relationships and your health. We need to consider those parts because you're a whole person, and all of that is also going to affect your career. That's why I do it this way. So when we look at your evaluating all areas of your life, like health, spirituality, finances, your relationships, your home environment, goals and dreams and your heart, those kinds of things, you're going to think about how you feel in each area of your life. So you will evaluate that. You'll say out of 1 to 10, I'm at a what, like 10 is really good. 1 is feeling bad in this area. Where are you at? And then you can see like, ooh, this area is really getting to me. And then you can start to ask yourself like, why is that? And what could I do to change that? So it's just a nice place to start to get that clarity. So that's one piece of it, looking at your life as a whole. The other part of this evaluation you learn from the past. Some mistakes that I see people make when they're feeling unfulfilled in their career is they just immediately start scrolling. They start looking for what other opportunities are out there, and they haven't decided on who they want to be now that they are going to move forward, or they haven't evaluated the past. So what happens is they start to repeat stuff. This is where you find people that leave one job that end up in another, and they start hating that job too. And it's very similar boss they might attract, similar situation. It's because they haven't done the work to really evaluate and say, I don't want any more of that stuff in the past. Instead, I want this as I move forward. And it's you being intentional and directing your energy and saying, hey, God, more of this. You got to figure out what this is that you want more of and what it is you don't want more of. So what we do is we look at your past roles, and I have you evaluate. What are the things you've liked in those past roles that raised your energy? What were the drainers of those past roles that, drained your energy? And you're clear on that. Now, if this is a business owner that I'm working with, the same is true. What are the things that have energized you in your business? What are the things that have really drained you in your business? So still applies. You're figuring out what those are. And this is what we're doing. Then we're making an intentional plan, and we're saying, okay, so these are your energizers. These are your drainers. We want more of these energizers. We want less of these drainers. So this is going to help us get an idea of how we're going to structure things as we move forward, how we're going to negotiate for things as we move forward, how we're going to get the help with certain things as we move forward. This is you being super intentional. So each step is going to lead to a part of the plan that you are going to take after we get the clarity. Clarity isn't enough. I always say that. It's not enough to get clear on your vision. You got to be that person. So I'm going to make sure that we figure out what you need to do to be that person. Okay. So the second piece is your strengths. So after you've you've evaluated the past, you've evaluated your current role, you evaluated how you feel about each area of your life, then we're going to move into your strengths. And you know what's interesting? Each of these things relate to each other. Here's an example real quick. And the evaluation piece, the reason you will evaluate any area low is because you're either not using your strengths in a way that feels good to you, or you're not honoring your values. or they're being challenged, that is why you will rate that area of your life low. And the things that you say in your work that drain you, why? Because most likely it probably doesn't align with your greatest strengths. Things that you're like, I love doing this and I'm really good at it. That is probably a thing that very much drains you. Like, for example, in my business, I don't like designing documents. I don't. I love content creation, like figuring out how to teach something, how to structure it. I like that piece, but I don't like the actual design of it. Designing websites, it actually very much drains me. But I know plenty of people who love that and that energizes them. Then that's them working in their strengths. So I've decided over the years, like, I'm not doing that anymore. Even if it can save me all this money or whatever it is, and I could figure it out, I'm not doing it because it doesn't energize me. It's not the best use of my energy. So that's an intentional decision I would make from learning some of these things. So things that drain you are related to values being challenged or strengths not being used in the way that you would like. That challenge. So this is related to the next step. The second step that I was mentioning is your strengths. You need to know what it is that you are good at. And you need this because you need to be able to speak on it. Whether this is related to your business or whether this is related to your career. Regardless, people need to know what it is that you're good at and how you can help them. And they're not going to know if you don't know. And so many people don't know their own things. So we're going to get clarity around your strengths. And there's an assessment that I use that I love, that I help people go through, and they get some clarity around their strengths and words to use to describe their strengths. And we also do this work where you ask other people what they think you are good at. And this is great because not only am I having you do this for just clarity in general, I'm also having you do this for you to program your mind. That's how I would describe it. Train your mind. Get your mind to see, oh, there's evidence of me being good at that because they say that and this person says that and this person says that. You need that. And it's also really helpful when you are trying to either grow your business or when you are trying to switch careers, because instead of saying I'm really good at this thing, and you feel like that's very ego, like some people struggle with that. They're like, I just feel uncomfortable saying what I'm good at. Other people, it's like, no problem, right? But for some people, it's like, oh, it's a challenge. But I think what always sounds good is for you to say, people say that I'm good at A, B, C. People say this. In fact, testimonials, reviews sell things the most. What people have to say about what you're good at. So you need to know what other people have to say about what you are good at. And then align that with what you found on your assessment and the words. And you can walk away and be like, I know I'm good at these 3-5 things, right? I know I'm really good at those things. And I like to use them in this way. And that's great because then we can figure out, okay, what opportunities career-wise will allow you to use those strengths more? Or even when it comes to, let's say, someone's business, how can we align your work so that you're using those strengths more? And I've even seen where in my business, this has happened recently, where I've made a shift where I'm like, these are the things I'm good at, and I want to zoom into that area. What I've recently shifted into is like, hey, across the board, even though I do a variety of different kinds of coaching when it comes to talk writing or presentation design, and this career side of coaching around the clarity, the theme across the board that I know I'm really good at is helping people get clear around their message. And communicate and influence other people to create the vision that they have, to get the results that they want. That is consistent across the board. And I'm really good at connecting pieces and dots. And that's what I'm doing with my clients is we're going through all these things and I'm connecting the dots as I'm hearing all these things. And then I'm bringing back some ideas for you. And then what's really cool is at the end of this all, you'll have a document, which I'll talk about in just a bit. I don't want to ruin it for us, but it's like step 5. We're getting to a point where we're getting all this information to create one thing that you need for your clarity and for your intentional decision making. All right, so we go through those strengths, and then the plan. Remember, each step has you're collecting information to help you with the plan. It's clarity and then movement forward. What is needed to move forward now that you know this? What's the plan to move forward? So with the strengths, the question that you're asking yourself after you're clear about what those are, how can I use these more? What does it look like to use those more? And we'll go through and answer those questions. And okay, let's move on to the third step. The third step of this process is your values. So the values, again, if you scored something lower in step 1, it's because a value or a strength were challenged. Now, the values are things that are important to you. You got to be able to describe them, though, in your own words. I don't want you just to Google words and just be like, okay, yes, family is important to me. I want you to be able to explain to me what does that mean? When you say family is important to you, what does that mean? What does that look like? Oh, it means that I'm present for my kids' activities. I'm present for my significant other, for the things that are important to them. Okay, so you wouldn't take a role then that would cause you to be gone all the time, because that would be out of alignment with your greatest value in the way you described it. Well, somebody else might describe it in another way, and that role might fit. So we need to be clear about how you would describe those values. You got to be clear about that. This is so important when it comes to being fulfilled in your life, is that you got to live a life that honors your greatest strengths and your greatest values. So you got to know what they are. And it's so good if you can describe them, pick 5 words and be able to describe them very quickly. And that's what we're going to have people do through my process. So there's also an assessment. What I mean by that is just my own assessment that I'm taking you through, where you're picking your 5 words and you are describing them, and we're chatting through them. And we narrow it down to those 5 words, and you know what they mean in your mind. And then this is going to lead to that plan. So once we've gotten that clarity, what's the next steps when it comes to the plan? How are we using this information? The question you're asking again is, how can I honor these values more? Where are they being challenged? Why? And then how can I honor them more? And we'll write that down as a question to get answered later. Okay, now the 4th step in this process, this is what I call head desires versus heart desires. We got to get clarity around that. Your desires. And since you've already gone through the steps before, you're starting to get more clarity around desires in general. But there is a process I'll take you through to do a visioning exercise where it's if I had my best year, what would that look like? Or wouldn't it be cool if XYZ things are happening in my life? It's going to get you out of your head and into your heart. There's some clarity there. And I'm going to look for trends. I'm going to look for connecting dots and being oh, sounds like this is really important to you. And then the other part of this is the head piece. So this is where, when I say head, what I mean by this is logical brain. We need to honor that part of us as humans. There's the heart side, and there's the logical head side of us. So both want to be seen and both are valued. Sometimes people do this where they're follow your heart. And they don't think about, but I need this amount of money to live and feed my children. Or, feed myself. That is important to think about. So what I like to do is take a holistic approach, is what I call it. And I want to get clear about what are the things you need minimum. What are your ideals when it comes to finances, when it comes to environment, when it comes to for a variety of things. I have a document that helps you get clear about those things. And then the heart side, we're going to get clear about that through the visioning side. But what I have seen in my years of doing this work, if I just ask someone, what is it in your dream world? What would you be able to do? You would not believe how many people cannot answer that question I've seen over the years, because their head gets in the way. They're well, I don't know. It's I have this background of this, so I could do. And I'm no, I asked you, what would you do if anything? You could do anything. And they still struggle with it. So what I've seen that works best is we honor the head part first. Let's get really clear. The math, let's do some math. Let's it's the head side of you that we're honoring. The logical brain, that's what I mean by it. We do that first, then we get into the dreamy state. So in step 4, we're doing the head, heart, desires is what I call it. And I have documents and templates and things that you're working through. And then the step 5, this is the awesome part. This is where you take everything. It's all awesome, but this part I feel is my favorite, that you get to condense it and you get really clear. So you take everything that you've already learned and it goes into one document. This is your career clarity map. And that is how we make decisions. So meaning on that one document, there's your vision, your goals that you have on your heart, heart desires. There's things that you're curious about. There are some additional things you do have to answer on this. So you're taking the data, the things that you learn from each step, and we're adding a couple other fun questions to fulfill this document and have your vision as a whole be stated in this document. And then it has your ideals around what you'd like to make financially, your minimums that you need to make, then vision, or your values, your strengths, what else? Things that you're curious about. Um, what else is on there? Everything from the steps that we've already done is going to be on this one document. Then, how do we use this document? What's really cool is as you move forward and you take those next steps, I will use that document to decide what are the next steps for you. What's the plan to move forward? So let's say we looked at it and we're like, oh, how can we honor these values more? Oh, you might do this next. This is part of your homework. This is what you're going to do next. Oh, these are your strengths. Oh, what roles could fit in with those, honoring those strengths? Oh, you're curious about these kinds of things? Then let's talk to people that are working in that field, that are doing those things. So like we take next steps based on that clarity map. So I think of it as like it serves almost like a vision because it's given you so much clarity, but then you'll need more clarity from that, and that will come from you talking to people. But you'll know what conversations to be had. You'll know what opportunities to pursue because we've gotten clarity around all the essential things. So that is my process. And I think everybody should have like a career clarity map at every stage, whether you are a business owner or you're trying to just switch your career in like a normal traditional setting. Everyone should have that. It's like your vision for what you want for your career. And I want to switch mine up a little bit. I'm going to go back to mine and like some things have changed. This is like a document that's always changing too. And throughout my process too, I'm a big fan of visioning. So I like to have people create a visual that represents the direction they want to go to. That's a part of it. But the career clarity map, I feel like, is a very special part of it. And it's cool that everything can be on one document. And this is used so often when we are preparing for conversations that need to happen for you to be who you want to be, or we're preparing for negotiations, interviews, whatever, working with clients. We go back to that and it helps us decide and make decisions. It's helped me, my clients, so many of them over the years where like they're deciding between multiple opportunities and we're like, let's look at your map. Oh, I see this one would help you align with your strengths, your values, the things you're curious about, your other dreams and goals. Okay, cool. Sounds like that one's that's the choice. And it helps them make a decision because sometimes they're like, I'm not really sure which one. Let's pull this out. And then we make decisions based off of that map. I just think it's so helpful. So that is my process that I take people through. And I'm the kind of person who really tries to practice what I preach. So I've been in this stage of my life where I've been focused on getting my career to align with my vision and who I want to be. And you may have heard recently that I did a bunch of insight interviews where I got to interview people that were feeling unfulfilled in their career and really hear about the problems that people are having, like the challenges and the things that are holding them back. And from that, I've learned a lot about myself. I've also learned a lot about the people I do want to work with and the people that I don't want to work with. So I've gotten a lot of clarity there. And I will say that the problem that I want to help people with is getting clear around the direction that they want to go, and figuring out the words they want to use to influence people along the way to make their vision a reality from a very authentic place. And what I mean by that is what I've found is that once people get clear about the direction that they want to go, they have to get other people on board with that. They got to influence other people, whether that's to hire them for a role or for some other service that they're providing. And that requires you to have clarity in your own message around who you are and what it is that you desire. And it also requires you to show up with the right kind of energy that's related to your words when you're trying to influence someone. And I'm big about, if you've ever worked with me one-on-one, you know this, like the energy that you bring into a conversation. That's why people book sessions with me specifically to help them figure out what to say for something that they're nervous about, like a meeting, a negotiation, a presentation, like what should I say? And how I approach it is figuring out the energy that they want to generate and the words that align with that energy that is needed to influence their target audience. So there's two pieces of the work that I love. It's the clarity piece and then the words that are needed to bring the dreams and the vision into reality to influence other people along the way, because you will not get to where you want to go without other people, hands down. But they need to be able to hear the confidence in yourself around what you desire and who you are to be able to be on board to want to work with you or hire you. Okay, So that is my jam. So what I've been doing is I've been using the season of my life right now to rebrand myself. And I just hired a website designer. So all of my packages are changing around the offers that I'm offering. The way I'm designing my programs are all changing because I've decided I know exactly who I want to work with. I know the problems I want to help with. So we're in that rebranding stage. So with that said, if you want to work with me and you're like, I want to do the VIP process that I just talked about and you feel like that is really needed, you can just simply reach out to me. It's not going to be updated on my website now because I just sent this information over to my website designer and then she hasn't even started doing any of it. It's going to be a very intentional process that we are going through, but I have all my packages listed. So if you do want to work with me, I will be fully transparent with you and straight up, like email me. You can email me at ange@angebarnard.com or my Gmail account, angembarnard@gmail.com. It all goes to that same email anyways. So anyways, you can email me there and I will straight up send you the packages. I'll be 100% transparent with you. I want to honor your time. So I'll be like, here's the packages. Here's what you get out of them. There's 3 package options. The first one is just a straight up one-on-one session. Again, who is that for? That is for somebody who like they're preparing for either a meeting or they need clarity around one specific thing. And they want help around what to say for that thing. Usually those sessions are really good for that. It's one session. So think, what could you get help with in one session? Like, for example, I've had people hire me for a negotiation, like trying to figure out what to say in a negotiation and make significant amounts of money from that one session investment. Or they hired me to help them figure out how to leave a role. They had the meeting planned. How did we make this goodbye a goodbye? Sometimes people will hire me around, I want to have this conversation with someone about restructuring my work. And it's one session that's needed for that. See, that would make sense. So that's package 1. Package 2 is a 3-session package to be used for whatever it is that you decide, but you feel like more time is needed than just one session. Recently, someone booked this with me because I've already actually done a whole VIP package with her. I already knew her whole situation and everything. So it was just, she wanted help with a specific career challenge. And then we were working through that and we're figuring out how she needs to gather certain information, how to structure meetings to get the information that she needs. And then once we gather all this information, then we'll decide if she wants to restructure things at her work or if she does want to make a transition from here. But we thought 3 sessions would help her give that clarity around if she even wants to invest in more sessions than that. So you got to think about best use of time. Now, the third package is my VIP package. This is the Clarity Accelerator package is what I call it. It's helping you very quickly get the clarity that you need and then take action on that to become that person with the right messaging that you need to. Because the influence piece is going to play a huge role along the way after you get that clarity. You will need the people involved to help bring that vision into reality. And that might be new relationships that you need to build or tweaking how your current relationships have been going and finding the right words to change that relationship dynamic. So that is the Career Clarity Accelerator VIP program. I think about it as just the VIP program. So if you are curious about those packages, what's involved in them, straight up, just email me and I will just send you in a document that has all of them listed with all of the pricing on it to be very transparent. And then you decide like if this feels like something you want to move forward on. If it is, then you can let me know and we can have a meeting and see if we would be a good fit to work with each other. And I want to be very clear. I don't want to work with everybody. I have very limited time to do one-on-one sessions. In fact, I debated if I ever even wanted to offer one-on-one sessions. I'm not lying to you because I've been so busy lately, but I feel like I've been praying about this, talking to God about it. And I was like, there's still so many people that I want to help with this process. And I know it's so helpful, but I only want to help like my people, so there's standards that I have around who I want to work with, qualities, and that also will be in the same document. It'll say, if you're this kind of person, that if you're this kind of person, then you're not a good fit. If you're the kind of person that's really wants to be really intentional about the way that they show up, if you're the kind of person who wants to do work that's really meaningful to them, and it's not just about making more money. I mean, it'd be cool if you did make more money, but you have goals beyond just making more money. or beyond just getting you another job. If you're the kind of person who just wants another job or just wants to make more money, then you're not a good fit. This is for someone who wants to live in alignment, and they will want to have their career be a reflection of who they are, that honors their God-given strengths and their values. They want to have high energy, and they want to feel good about their career so that they can feel good in other areas of their life. So that is the kind of person that I want to work with. And also somebody who is flexible, because, I have a schedule that usually I work with people that are pretty busy themselves. So it's like we're flexible with each other. And I'm the same way. It's like, they're like, oh, yeah, this week is super busy for me. Like, could we do next week, or could we do 2 sessions at this time, or do a longer one? Like, we get flexible with each other. We honor each other's time, but we also recognize like how life is. That's something that's important to me too. All right, so if that interests you, holla and send me an email, and I will send to you the packages and be fully transparent with you. Regardless, I hope this episode has been very helpful, and send it to someone if you feel like they're struggling with that clarity around the direction that they want to go, and maybe get some just thinking at the very least about these items that could be really helpful to them. All right, to recap real quick, this is what you got to do. You got to evaluate your past. You got to think about your life as a whole, evaluate each area of your life, how you're feeling, and then specifically your past rules, what's energized you, what's strained you. The second part is you got to get clear about what your strengths are. The third part is you got to get clear about what those values are. The fourth part is you got to figure out what your heart desires, what's on your heart, and then also what your head desires. What are the things that need to be met for you to live, for you to create the lifestyle that you want, financially, environmentally, those things. And then the last piece is, once you've gotten all that clarity, you want to put it all into one document so you can easily see it and you can keep coming back and referring to it. It's like your vision. It's the map that you're working off of. You want to have that. You don't want to have it pieced out where you can't see it, because if you can't see it all, you're not going to use it. I've learned that over the years. So you want to get it all into one space. All right. I hope you have an awesome day. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.